we're gonna remove two bolts on rear seats where they're just screwed onto the body of the car. So inside, two sections, I think 8mm. You just pull these two tabs and then you kind of like slide it up. Okay, it's not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to pull it away. You can see it right here. So also, before we get into this, make sure that you buy that fuel filter net. I'm gonna show it right here in the corner. I bought the filter itself, but I didn't bought that net that attaches to the motor. So if you're buying the filter, make sure you get it before you get started. In my case, I didn't replace that one, but I just wanted to mention it before we jump into this. So you remove this cover and make sure you unclip those. And if you have a vacuum, you can just clean it up so all that dust doesn't go into the car. In my case, I just spilled the gas a little bit and I decided to wipe all around. And there are two connectors, electrical connectors. Make sure you can disconnect them first. It's pretty simple. Just don't break it, okay? It should easily come out. Make sure you have a safety glasses. Put some napkins under the hoses. So I'm gonna remove the one that goes into the fuel rail. So that will have the pressure, and I decided to use my screwdriver to push it out so I don't make my gloves wet. But if you have latex gloves, use latex gloves because you will spill some gas. Okay, that's fine. But just make sure that you wipe it off quickly so your car doesn't smell like a gas for the rest of the day. But I did spill. I wiped it off. I cleaned it. I didn't vacuum it. I didn't have a vacuum, but I made sure that it's clean. And you guys can see basically there are two connectors, right? One goes to the rail, another, I don't know where it goes, but in both cases I'm using my screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, to depress that pin and then at the same time try to slide it out. Okay, once I do that, that ring around the, what is it, the fuel filter motor, whatever, mounted on, it has a bunch of screws on it, Phillips head. I decided to use my drill to unscrew it. It's brushless, but make sure you have some fire extinguisher or something like that. In my case, my tank is quarter, it's not full, it's not half, but when I opened I realized it was enough gas in there. But make sure you're not doing it in a full tank of gas. Make sure that you have at least, I mean, no more than half of the gas in your tank. Maybe if you have less, it's better. But these two things, the disconnected connectors, I mean, you just have to push them away from the area where you're going to be working, and that ring metal piece has to come out first before you slide out the entire thing. If you have a bucket, you can use a bucket here as well. I did spill gas over here as well. You can see all over the connectors, and just use something that you can put underneath, or just put it inside of the back bucket, and just you don't spill in the interior of the car any gas from this filter, because it will be full of gas in there. So I'm gonna wipe off all that gas that I spilled, and my gasket is staying over there. I'm not touching it. I'm just wiping it around, and make sure you don't drop anything in there. So this is the basically entire assembly. Okay, first I disconnected the connector that I showed you guys, and I'm not fully taking it out, but you should actually disconnect the motor connector, and there's one around it, but you can follow this video as well. But I was doing it for the first time, so I wasn't sure. I was just taking it easy, and first thing I did is remove this filter that I mentioned you guys that you have to buy. So I didn't have new one, so that's the thing. I don't even know how this thing is called. That's why, I mean, it didn't come with a filter and never thought about it. I remember changing in other cars, but totally forgot, couldn't even find it after getting to this point. So I just decided to put it back. So disconnected the motor right there. Be careful with this electrical one as well, because you can easily it can become loose, and you don't want to deal with electrical issue in there. So you're gonna be gentle here as well with everything you do. I'm just pushing out that motor from that filter unit, and when you push it out, there are some little gaskets or rubber gaskets that are going to be needed to reuse, because the new one will not come with it. So make sure you look around. You can show that you can just watch this video every second of it, because you might miss something, because there's a lot going on here. So after you remove it, you will see it. I just pull it out from the inside with my screwdriver, and then put it on a motor's basically tube, and then I insert the motor into a new filter. So those things, they're all over the place, so just make sure you do not lose any of them. And you guys can see I'm gonna be using it just to push it in there. This is the part where I struggle a little bit, but just make sure that you take your time. You don't do anything crazy, because anything can break this unit. If you have the whole entire unit, I mean, it could be easier, but for some reason I bought the filter, so I messed with it. So if you're saying you didn't buy the entire assembly, you got to be very, very gentle here, and just make sure you put everything in order you took them out. So It'll take some time, but just take your time. Don't rush. The whole process might take about an hour, hour and a half or so. But if it takes longer, that's fine. But just make sure that you don't do, you don't, yeah, you don't break anything, because if you break something, that's it. You're done. You have to buy entire whole unit. But that's the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys like it. Drop a like, subscribe. See you in the next video.